Well, we're going to talk semi-final. Of course we are. Today is, after all, match day, a huge match day. Another chance for these players to redeem themselves after what has been not just two awful games, but five fairly uninspiring performances. Well, I suppose one was decent beating Hibs, but other than that, has not been the best. Or shall we say 3.5? Let's give them half against Celtic at least. We're also going to talk a little bit about how Celtic have perhaps let's try and do his diplomat. Actually, no, who cares? Have cheated their way into the Scottish Cup final. We're also going to talk a little bit about the history of these Rangers Hearts game. And I've got a little bit of an alternative take on a possible team for today. And I'm also going to talk a little bit about my new guest who will be joining me on the live post-match podcast tonight, guys. Well worth waiting for that one. Well, let's start off with the daylight robbery that went on at Hampden Park. Now, I'm not one to go and usually defend Aberdeen. Okay, I'm not Aberdeen. I don't like Aberdeen. I'm not a fan of Aberdeen. But today they were robbed, quite frankly. Absolutely. Daylight robbery has taken place at Hampden Park today. And as per usual, the beneficiaries of said daylight robbery are the green and grey mob from across the city. Now, it was a pretty exciting semi-final, which ended 3-3, with Celtic eventually winning on penalties, 6-5. Some very last-minute goals and some, pretty spot-on, finishes to end the game. And Bojan Miovski obviously opening the scoring after only 2 minutes. Oh, my God, if we had signed Bojan Miovski, how this league season may have ended differently. I suppose as well the reason why I feature that result is it just really to show that Celtic are not that good a side this year. They are a fairly awful, appalling side, and we really have handed the title back to them, haven't we? We really should be putting a team as bad as this Celtic team away. I think it kind of says a little bit about how we've really blown it over the last couple of games. Now, there was obviously the Scales incident in the first half, suspected handball, which probably should have been given as a penalty. And then there was this incident as well, which a foul on Junior Hoilett by Carter Vickers. Can anyone tell me how this is a foul on Carter Vickers? Yet it is Carter Vickers who is kicking Junior Hoilett, and Hoilett who is going to the ground hurt, yet the free kick goes to Celtic. I genuinely struggle to understand how that is a free kick to Celtic. I don't get how VAR cannot review that and say that Celtic supporting referee Dalton Robertson has made a clear and obvious error, and it is a penalty to Aberdeen. I just genuinely beggars belief. I mean, I'm sorry, but look, I'm now going to sound like a typical whining Rangers fan here, a typical, obviously anti-Celtic, but that is just absolutely blatant. There's the still image. You can see Carter Vickers kicking the player, not the ball. Now, the very definition of a foul is that the player plays the player and not the foul, not the ball. Carter Vickers has quite clearly kicked Junior Hoilett here and not kicked the ball, therefore meaning it should be a penalty. But by some strange quirk of fate, it is not, and VAR didn't even spot it. Isn't it a disgrace that after what was probably what was an entertaining game by all accounts, I didn't watch it. I only saw these bits and pieces here that I wanted to check out for the channel tonight. That we're talking about referees again, that we're not talking about the game again. Sad, real sad reflection, I think, on things as they stand. Okay, so let's move on to a little bit of Abdallah Sima. Mo, dear Monday. Mo, you will be featured, I'm sure, very shortly. But let's talk a little bit of Abdallah Sima. Now, Abda, as Big Phil calls him, has been absolutely outstanding since he has come to the club. Yes, he is only on loan and he scored 16 goals. And I've got a genuine feeling that had he been fit all season, he would have genuinely scored more goals. And the fact that he has scored the exact same number of goals in less games than Cyril Dessers from the wing really does show how effective the Abdallah Sima has been this year. It's such a shame that he did not stay fit for the entire season, and that AFCON competition really did cost him an even greater run in the team. But having Abdallah back is huge. He is direct, he's fast, he's one of the best finishers at the club, and I think he could actually be used through the middle to the same effect that he's used out wide left or out wide right. I think he's only kind of been used out wide right because we know we have to protect Tav defensively because Tavernier's defending is pretty shitty. Now, obviously the debate is over Abda. What will happen to Abdallah Sima in the summer? Abdallah Sima is absolutely, he is really genuinely loved by an awful lot of Rangers fans. There's a lot of Rangers fans out there who really do like Abda. And I'm certainly saying I am one of them. And they always say, don't they, that you should never, ever fall in love with a lone player. I think a lot of us are guilty of falling in love with Abda. He has been absolutely fantastic. He knows where the goal is. Like I said, he's quick, he's direct, he's skillful. He is a quality player. He's tall, he's big, he gets on the end of crosses. He just is everything we need in a player. He loves the club. I think that's quite obvious with how he is on the field, when he scores, how he is with the fans. He really does love playing here at Rangers. And I think he's one of the best players in the Scottish Premiership. He's a player certainly who would fit our player trading model also. He's someone that if we purchased him, I think, he is certainly someone you could flip for an awful lot of money in the future. He certainly does fit that player trading model. He is a young player still. He's 23 years old, so he's still got time to develop, time to get better, and time to really improve. And, again, like I said, he could be flipped for an awful lot of money in the future. Now, transfer market puts his value currently at around £7 million, which I think for a player as effective as him is just fantastic. Now, he is out of contract, not this summer, but next summer from Brighton and Hove Albion. He is on a contract on June the 30th, 2025, which means he's got about 12 months roughly remaining on his deal. And I think obviously the worry about Abdallah is that Rangers won't be able to afford him come the summer. That fees have been bandied around of 15-20 million pounds for the player, but the fact that this player has only 12 months left on his contract in the summer, Brighton are going to be unable to demand 15-20 million pounds from him because nobody is going to pay that when a player has only 12 months left on their deal. They're going to wait a year, sign him for free. So, that if we can get him for somewhere between 5 and 7 million, I honestly think it would represent an absolute bargain. I think given the fact that, you get him saying a 3-year contract, a 5-year contract, whatever, you pay 7 million for him, in say a couple of years time, you could be flipping this player for 15, 20, 25 million pounds. Diego Jota went, I think it was 25 million out to Saudi. The EPL are well renowned for overpaying for players as well as the Saudis. So, this is a player, like I said, who you could be flipping for 15, 20 million, more than doubling your money on in the future. He is well worth the money. Now, Abda has been discussing the chances of him staying at Rangers. And this is what he had to say. He said, "You never know in football, anything can happen. But my last season wasn't perfect. So for me, the most important thing is where I feel happy, and I feel happy here. I always say that. I have everything here to feel happy, and I am also playing football. But I'm just focused on my season now. We have hopefully got 7 games left. Then we are going to think about the future." He went on to say, "We have some experienced players. Sometimes you have hard moments and they talk to us. The character is here. We just need to focus ourselves on our next few games. I knew this moment of the season was the most important for us as a club. We have titles to win. I was just thinking about that coming back because I want to help the team. I worked really hard to come back. And now I want to show my quality and help us to win games. I like the pressure. It helps me to be a better player. I take the pressure positively, and I think it is a bad thing for me. It is a normal for a football player. How do you manage this pressure? I like to play in big games. That's why I love football. It has helped me a lot. I am looking forward to scoring as many goals as possible and also helping my team because I am a team player. I just want to do my best for the team and score goals, more goals for myself." An excellent attitude from Abda. And I think, it really does show that, like he says, he is happy here. He's enjoying his time here. He really is, just really appreciating his time in Glasgow. And he is really showing up well. And he's, done well. He's blended well with the manager. He's blended well with the other players. And it's really positive, obviously the desire he has to be here. And after all, that's what you want. You want players who want to play for your club, who want to fight, want to fight for this badge here. And Abda is certainly somebody who does. So, look, I really do hope we manage to keep hold of him. I hope that the board and Niels Coppin in particular managed to come up with some sort of deal to sign Abdallah Sima on a permanent basis. Okay, let's move it along and let's talk about today's semi-final as Rangers take on Hearts at Hampden Park. Now, going into today's game, the form of the two teams is quite different. Rangers, let's forget Scottish Cup form. Of course, they've had to win all their games to get to this point, or else they wouldn't be at this point. So that's a bit of a silly graphic, that is. But overall form leading up to this game is very different. Hearts have won 3 of their last 5. We've only won 1 of our last 5. Hearts have lost 1 of their last 5. We've lost 2 of our last 5. Overall, Hearts have won 3, drawn 1, lost 1. We have won 1, lost 2, drawn 2. So Hearts are quite clearly on a better run of form coming into this game. And, we'll come into this game full of hope and full of, belief that they can upset the odds and defeat Rangers. I think Aberdeen showed today against that lot from across the city that, this is the old firm this season are not perhaps the invincible forces they were of the past, and they are there for the taking. And I think Hearts will come into this game with a sense of belief, and certainly the comments that Stephen Naismith made in his interview the other day, which I talked about on yesterday's video, really do show they have a strong sense of belief going into the game that they can cause an upset and make it all the way to the Scottish Cup final, something they have done fairly recently. They have the players to do it. And, in particular, obviously, a player that, I would love to have seen in a Rangers shirt this season, I think, again, is another one. Had we signed him in January, I think we'd be winning the league now. Lawrence Shankland is a player tomorrow we need to stop, we need to contain. And it does worry me that if Connor Goldson plays tomorrow, given the form that he is currently in, that Lawrence Shankland will have an absolute field day up against him, especially as obviously Lawrence, likes to drop off and then go at players. And that's certainly something, that Connor Goldson struggles with. So, Lawrence Shankland is certainly someone we're going to have to watch very closely tomorrow. And it's going to be down, I think, to the centre-backs, whoever they are. And I'm hoping it's going to be Suter and Balogun tomorrow to contain Lawrence Shankland. If you contain Lawrence Shankland, you pretty much stop Hearts. I mean, you've only got to look at Shankland's statistics to see how important he is to Hearts. He for Hearts FC, basically read Lawrence Shankland. He is their be-all and end-all. He has scored virtually all their goals this season. He is the man they turn to. Without him, they would be powder puff. They really genuinely would. I mean, like I said, this is a man who this season has scored, 21 goals for Hearts. And I can't remember the exact percentage, but that is a massive percentage of Hearts goals. So, look, he is certainly someone we're going to have to shut down. In terms of recent results against Hearts, it is a very positive picture. Hearts, I think it's about 17 games since they last beat Rangers. I mean, certainly if you look at this graphic here, it shows you how consistent Rangers have been in turning Hearts over in recent times. And it's certainly something, that hopefully we can use to get back to winning ways. If you go back across, obviously, the 5-0 at Ibrox, which was probably the best performance of the season by Rangers, a 1-0 away at Tynecastle, a 3-1 at Tynecastle, a 2-1 at Ibrox, a 2-2 draw. The only one out of these results that didn't go as a positive. 3-0 away win at Tynecastle, a 1-0 home win, a 4-0 win at Tynecastle. Again, a very positive result by Rangers. I mean, if you go back even further now, this is going back all the way to 2019, 2020. A 5-0 to Rangers at home, a 2-0, a 1-1. The last defeat you can see there is a 1-0 win for Hearts, weirdly, in the SFA Cup in 2019-2020, for a 2-1 win for Hearts in the Premiership in 2019-2020. So, look, Hearts have not beaten us for 4 to 5 years now. It's been an awful long period of time. And look, I know you'll say, well, Ross County hadn't beaten us at all before the other day, and by the law of averages and etc., etc. But Rangers need to take confidence from this, that they're going into this game very much, a team that has an excellent record over Hearts and holds a bit of a whip hand over them. And this is something we do need to continue in today's game. Look, it's not going to be an easy game today. Hearts, like I said, will be bang up for this. We'll be firing on all cylinders. And I think they'll have watched over the last few weeks. They'll have watched Celtic, they'll have watched Dundee, they'll have watched Ross County, and they'll have watched what works against us. And we need to obviously be up for the battle and up for the fight today, because what seems to have occurred over the last couple of weeks, last couple of games more so, is the fact that when teams get physical with us, get up in our faces, start fast and go after us, we don't seem to like it. We seem to retreat back into our shell and really struggle. So, Hearts will have watched that. Hopefully it will be a end-to-end game of football today, and just the fact that we have the more talented players across the entire team, even with some of those players who, many of us don't rate. There is the opportunity, I think, to overturn Hearts today. Look, I think the big thing today is no matter what has happened this week or in the last 2 to 3 games or 5 games, even taking out that Hibs game or the second half against Celtic, that we, everything is required from everyone, every player, every fan, getting there, getting passionate, getting behind the boys and really pushing it. I think that is the key thing today. Look, I had a little think, I don't think this team will ever be played. I don't think this will be the team he'll use. I think he'll use his 4-2-3-1. I have had a nightmare where Barisic starts, Goldson starts, Tav starts, Lundstrom starts, and Dessers starts up front. And it is a nightmare that has kept me awake, guys. I don't want to feel that nightmare again. Now, this is a bit of a 4-3-3, a bit of something different to try and create a little bit of uncertainty. Give Hearts a bit of a wake up, a bit of a shock, because they'll be expecting a 4-2-3-1. They'll be expecting, certain players in certain positions. It's just something to shake it up a little bit, which I think we need to do after recent performances. So the back four, I've gone with Tav, Suter, and Goldson, and Fraser. Look, I know that Robbie Fraser is a player that has not perhaps been at his best, but still, Borna Barisic is completely checked out, and I don't think it's worth risking him. And I want to, I just think that, maybe we use Dujon Sterling. We feel we could interchange Raskin for Dujon. I think I've missed that one off. That's a bit of an error there on my part. Butland in goal, obviously. A midfield 3 with Canwell, Dujon Sterling as the sitter, and Diamande. So Diamande to the left, Canwell to the right, and Dujon Sterling to sit. That for me would give us a solid 3 in the middle. Sterling in front of the back 4, sweeping up, tidying up. In fact, I'm going to change that team and put the team down right on a banner, guys. I do apologise for making that mistake. Should have checked that one. A bit of a schoolboy error there. But like I said, I don't want to see I don't want to see Goldson, and I don't want to see Lundstrom. I think we will. I don't think there's any chance of this team actually being used. I don't think Robbie Fraser's got a cat in hell's chance of playing. I don't think there's a cat in hell's chance that we see Goldson dropped, and I don't think there's a cat in hell's chance that we see Lundstrom dropped either. I think they have whatever hold they have over the manager. I think it's great news that Diamande is back. Certainly, I think that's a really good one. And that's a real positive for Rangers. I think he's someone we've certainly missed over the last few weeks. But no, yeah, Canwell to the right, Sterling is the holder. Diamande, I think him and Canwell can provide a bit of impetus there. Now, Sima and Matondo will be wide of that front 3, and I think they can then drop back in and support the 2 fullbacks and cover the 2 fullbacks, as well as obviously get forward. And the other thing about that front 3 is I mentioned on the Fabio Silva video yesterday, which from some of the comments that I read, quite clear that those people didn't actually bloody watch the video. Sima and Matondo and Silva can interchange positions. They can really flow around and move and be flexible. Something that Clement talked about wanting at the start of his time at Rangers, and something that will unsettle a back 4 very much so. So, look, that is just my little idea for how we could perhaps change things up, because it quite frankly has not been working over the last couple of games. So predictions for today, guys, I'm kind of getting at, I don't know, predictions are really hard at the moment. They really genuinely are. But I'm going for a 2-1 Rangers win. I'm going to go for Dujon Sterling to get the winner, and I'll take Rangers through to the final against that lot from across the city, guys. Let me know your ideas for the team. Let me know your predictions for today's game. Let me know what you think of Abdallah Sima, and obviously the stories that we've covered in the video today before the match. And one quick thing before we go today. Podcast tonight, live post-match reaction, guys. Your chance to get involved. Myself and Vivian Betteridge will be hosting the podcast. Vivian is a massive Rangers fan. She is going to be at the semi-final today. She'll be joining me later at 8 p.m. Vivian is on, does a lot on social media. She's on Instagram, for example, big into her bodybuilding, her food, and her Glasgow Rangers. So come and join me and Vivian talking all things Rangers tonight at 8 o'clock. Guys, thank you so much for watching Glasgow Rangers Nation. As I said on my community post, which some people used as a term to abuse, which just shows how pathetic they truly are. Thank you so much for your support. It really does mean the world to me. I think this is something that I love to do. This is something that I love to talk about. Rangers is just an absolute, passion of mine. My ambition is to get this channel up to somewhere in the region of 50, 60,000 subscribers and make this my job every single day to bring you all the latest from the club. Thank you for watching. On the way out, 2 jobs I always ask of you. Number 1 is to smash the like. And number 2 is to remember always, we are the people.